Hello, beautiful people. Hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. A topic in particular came to my mind, and I thought this would be appropriate, especially for, I'm speaking to young men, grown adult men, and grown men out there, and even women. This can be a general topic, but especially I wanted to touch on overcoming trauma in your life. Now, so often, one thing about us as humans, life is relative for all of us. You can all relate to each other. We might be different in many ways, which is normal. We still have things that makes us similar, things that make us similar. And so particularly today, as I was contemplating on things I wanted to touch on, the topic trauma kept coming over and over in my mind. It kept playing over and over. Let's address trauma. How do you truly overcome trauma? Now, a lot of people that I've communicated with who see their therapists and different things like that, they have a way of sometimes leading their patients or these people into compartmentalizing their trauma. So deciding, you know what, I'm going through trauma right now. I've had this terrible experience in my life. I'm going to now park it there and not have to ever deal with it anymore. And whenever it's brought up, it becomes triggering for me. So I either got to avoid ever speaking on it, or that becomes a difficult experience in that moment for me. Now, personally, I can understand some people have different ways of dealing with things. So I guess in many ways, I wouldn't say, hey, this is how you need to deal with it. But I've come up, in my opinion, with a way that I believe is more effective. Because in life, again, to each his own. So I'm not going to be trying to push nobody into any direction necessarily. But I am sharing my experiences because, like I said, we all have relative things in our lives that makes us similar. So for me in particular, I've had trauma myself, and my way of having overcome trauma and dealing with trauma has been to be able to freely and confidently discuss it, so that there are no triggers for me. Particularly for me, on the trauma that I've endured in my personal life, I spend time talking about it. I spend time revisiting it, and not because I want to discuss it and just talk about it frivolously, but because I spent time identifying areas I too could have been better. I spent time finding ways to be accountable. I spent time revisiting those experiences over and over, playing it in my head and trying to identify different ways I could have improved in those situations. And from my experience, by continually revisiting that experience, not because I'm finding something that puts me into a corner or makes me feel down about myself, because sometimes it's an experience that when you think about it, you think less